And so I was like, ready, girl, because I was going to 1970. I was going to run in the Olympics. And so, but you know what? Like I said, if you want to make God laugh, tell them what your plans are. But instead, in 1969, in the 12th grade, I just got 11th grade, going to 12th grade. I had been talking to Tennessee A&I, going to run for the Tiger Bells, Coach Ed Temple. I got pregnant.
Welcome back to another episode of Kel's Big Little World. For new listeners over on this channel, I'm Kel, and I interview guests from all over the world to explore their beliefs, careers, and day-to-day life, all to reveal that we're united in something greater, a shared journey through this big little world we call home. And today, we'll be talking to a woman who has seen more of this world than most people. Through her global traveling and high-profile career, our guest today has been able to help young women in West Africa through her national program. Edith Piaf once said, "When you reach the top, you should remember to send the elevator back down for the others." Our upcoming guest has established a legacy of inspiring young women through her success, but has made sure to lift up girls all around the world on a personal and career level. With that being said, let's welcome our upcoming guest, Reverend Dr. Adrienne Johnson Booth. Reverend Dr. Adrienne Johnson Booth worked for Coca-Cola as the multicultural brand ambassador, where she met A-list celebrities and traveled around the world. She is president and CEO of Infinity Global Connections, which mentors students to become entrepreneurs. Most notably, she spearheads the washable program, which is a women's empowerment program in West Africa, where she's created 200 women entrepreneurs who make and sell washable sanitary pads in rural villages. Reverend Johnson is a mother, wife, author, CEO, and a proud member of the Kappa Sorority Incorporated. I am so grateful being here with you today. How are you on this beautiful day?
I am absolutely wonderful, and I am happy to be here with you as well. So I'm just ready to get started. I'm excited. Let's get going. Let's go.
Yes. So first of all, I wanted to address the titles. What is the significance of all those titles for you?
Well, the most important thing for me is that I am a reverend, which means I am God's person. Yeah. My favorite Bible verse was Isaiah 6 chapter verse 8. It says, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" And I said, "Send me. Here am I, send me." And so that's why I'm here. I mean, that's why I'm here on earth. You know, being a mother, grandmother, you know, all that. That's soon to be a great grandmother. So all that is just important, because number one in my life is God, and number two in my life is family, me and my family. So other than that, all the other things fall in priority afterwards.
Yeah. So are people like surprised when they hear that you're a female minister? What's the general reaction?
No, I think people are used to it now. When I go to some churches, you will find there aren't not a lot, but a couple of ministers will say, you know, as a female minister, getting in their pulpit, you know, they have certain standards, certain things you can and can't do.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, what happens sometimes when my husband preaches, people will come up to him afterwards and say, "Oh, Reverend Johnson, that was a great sermon." And after I preach, they'll come up and say, "Reverend Johnson, that was a great speech." And I have to remind them, no, that wasn't a speech. I'm a reverend also.
Yes. So after you talk about your call to the ministry, what did that look like?
Well, to me, I grew up in church. So I'm from Portsmouth, Virginia. Daddy was in the Navy, my mother, and I'm from a long line of Southern Baptist ministers in Portsmouth, Virginia. And we used to go to Suffolk, Newport News, Gilmerton. So, I grew up sitting in the church, watching my uncles preach. So, I don't know anything other than on Sunday to be in church.
So a lot of your careers or career paths that you've taken involve helping. That seems to be a common theme. So how did the pandemic kind of put you in a different position to help?
Well, the pandemic didn't really do a lot. The only thing it stopped was I go to Africa twice a year. I've been going to Africa twice a year since 2001. I create women empowerment programs in Africa. So I started off going to South Africa. I created programs there. I went to Liberia, Monrovia, Liberia. Next, I've been to Kenya, Rwanda, I created this program in Ghana and Sierra Leone. And so during the pandemic, what happened was I was in Africa and they started talking about, pandemic. So, and I know the African presidents, they protect their people. So I said, I got to go home because when those presidents, one thing they learned about Ebola is they close those borders. They protect their people. And when they close those African borders, that means you can't come in or go out. And so I jumped on a plane and came home because I didn't want to get stuck because I didn't know how long those borders were going to be closed. And I didn't know what the United States was going to do if they were going to close the borders as well. So that was the only thing. I think I went in 2019 was when the pandemic hit. I was there. I went to Africa in 2019. I didn't go in 2020, but I was there starting in 2021, 22. So I'm on my way back. I go in September of 2023. So I'm going.
So from a youth, did you ever imagine that you would be traveling the country, doing a lot of the big things that you're doing? Was this the plan?
Well, you know what? If you want to make God laugh, tell him what your plans are. So my plan was, I was a track star. And in high school, I ran track. I ran hurdles. I ran relay. So I would have come out of school in 1969. So in 1968, there were Olympics in Mexico City. That's when our three athletes put their fist up, Black Power. And so I was like, ready, girl, because I was going to 1970. I was going to run in the Olympics. And so, but you know what? Like I said, if you want to make God laugh, tell him what your plans are. But instead, in 1969, in the 12th grade, I just got 11th grade, going to 12th grade. I had been talking to Tennessee A&I, going to run for the Tiger Bells, Coach Ed Temple. I got pregnant. So that was it for my track career, my everything. Because that was back in the day when they used to put people out of school. You couldn't go to school during the daytime. And so thank God I had a praying mother and father. But my father put me out. When they put me out of day school, my daddy put me in night school. He put me in Aaron's trade school. And I remember crying because at my graduation, I was sitting beside this old man who was 81 years old. And everybody was talking about, oh, this guy's graduating. He's 81. I'm like, but what about me? What about me? Anyway, I didn't get a chance to run track then, but God still had it. And so guess what? A delay is not a denial. And so it was just a delay. And so in 2021, I found out about Detroit had something called the Senior Olympics. Girl, I entered the Senior Olympics, won 2 gold medals, beat everybody else that was all them other 70, 80-year-olds. I beat all of them. I was really trying to run against that 100-year-old lady, but she was going to be too fast for me. When you run in track, especially relay, what you have to do, and that's the way it was in life, you never look to the side because you start comparing yourself with people. You never look to the back. Why are you looking behind you? That's the past. You always stay focused on the front, winning the race. And I won all the races, and so I learned to stay focused. All the things that I learned in track and field, I carry over in my personal life. And that's why I'm talking to you today, because I also learned on a relay team that you have to pass the baton. It's very important to pass to the next generation that's coming behind you.
After you went to night school and you went to the University of Louisville, how did you know that was the fit for you, considering, you had a son that you still wanted to pursue? What was the plan looking at University of Louisville?
Well, you know what? That wasn't even the plan. I didn't have any faith in myself, because one thing about Harris Creek, Kentucky, where I was raised, if there was a pregnancy, there was going to be a wedding, but it didn't mean it was a marriage. So I got married at 17. Girl, I was divorced at 19. So it was just me and my son. And so I didn't have any faith in myself. And I was a secretary. And I said, wait a minute, I wasn't even a secretary. Wait a minute, I'm lying. I was a clerk typist. I wasn't a secretary. But I said, one day my boss came in and he threw something on the desk and he said, Adrienne, I'm going to lunch with my friends. Or he said, I'm going to lunch. But I knew he was going with his friends. So I'm his clerk typist, I know. And so he threw the paper down on the desk for me to type. And I said, wait a minute. The only reason why I'm standing here typing his paper and he's going to lunch is because I don't have a college degree. Girl, I ran and grabbed my purse. He said, where you going, Adrienne? I said, I'm going to college. He said, you going to college? I said, yeah, the only difference between you and me is a college degree. So you know what I did? I didn't have any faith in myself. So I didn't go to University of Louisville. I went to Jefferson Community College. And I got an associate degree. And I breezed through it, got straight A's and stuff. And then they said, well, what are you going to do next? I said, well, I don't know. I guess I'll go on to the university. So that's when I went University of Louisville School of Business. So a lot of times, you know what? It's called blind faith. You just got to keep walking. You just got to keep stepping. And I remember when, I was on food stamps when I was in community college. I remember one clerk, I had some food up there or something, and she said, you can't get this. You got food stamps. This is not allowed. I said, listen, hey, calm down. I don't know what I can have. Just pay for it. Just whatever. Put it back. I don't care. See, you don't understand. This is not permanent for me. This is a temporary environment. So I don't make permanent decisions in a temporary environment, and you shouldn't either.
So on a part of your journey of just kind of reclaiming this faith about yourself, you joined the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. How did that network of women support you?
I pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority when I was at University of Louisville. And they were my sorors. Unfortunately, I pledged my senior year, so I didn't get a chance to really pledge and know them that well. And I really didn't connect back with my sorority sisters until I was working for the Coca-Cola company in Atlanta. And that's when I started getting involved with the sorority. And since then, they're a true sisterhood. I mean, when I wear that pink and green, wherever I go, somebody will say, hey, soror, hey, soror. You can count on them, wherever I am. Even I meet sorors in Africa. And we met for tea as before I was leaving Ghana the last time. And so, we're everywhere. I think there are over 300,000 of us, and it's just amazing. It's a wonderful sorority, but all the sororities are good. Zeta Phi Beta, they wear blue and white. Delta Sigma Theta. I mean, the sororities, the Divine Nine is a wonderful place to be. My son is Alpha Phi Alpha. So the son I had when I was 17, my son is now 54 years old. He's an Alpha, and I have a daughter I had at 45. Jayla is now, she's an AKA. So I have a 54-year-old son and I have a 28-year-old daughter.
How do you think you set the role model for your kids?
I teach them everything. First of all, I taught them about the importance of having God in their life. And then I taught both of them. I wanted Bill to go to Howard University because as a Black man, I needed him to know that he was a Black man and what that meant. And I said, after you get that foundation, that you can go. Then he went to University of Kentucky Law School. My son is a lawyer. Jayla, I wanted Jayla to know, she went to University of Michigan. She followed in her father's footsteps. Joe played basketball for Michigan. Jayla went to Michigan. But then for graduate school, I wanted Jayla to become a global person too. So Jayla, I sent her to the London School of Economics. And so Jayla graduated with her master's degree from the London School of Economics, and she's now a vice president with J.P. Morgan.
Wow.
So my son is a lawyer, my daughter's a banker.
Yes, but you're talking about Coca-Cola and how this kind of helped that experience. What was your responsibilities at Coca-Cola?
Well, I was there for over 20 years, so I had a lot of responsibilities. But I was in marketing and sales, part of it. So I called on the military down in Fort Bragg, Hope Air Force Base. In DC, I worked with the bottler. In Atlanta, I called on national sales like Tanger Outlet Mall, Cracker Barrel. I called on national accounts. And so as I retired, I was in African American marketing, and I took 21 HBCU students to South Africa for the World Cup. I wanted these students to be exposed, and I wanted them to become global citizens. And so I took them to South Africa for the World Cup, and then I retired from the Coca-Cola company. Some of these students now are doctors, lawyers. In fact, one of them, Stephen Dr. Love, has a movie coming out. Stephen went to Morehouse undergrad and went to California for some film school that Steven Spielberg went to, and he's got a new movie coming out now called They Cloned Tyrone. But I'm sure it's going to be a hit. Steven's a great guy. Yeah. Oh, and we took Idris Elba with us.
Ooh.
I know.
How is it meeting these celebrities? Do you think everybody is how they seem, or are there some people you were surprised about?
No, most of them are very nice people. You know, you just have to, and that's something that I teach now through my Infinity Global Connections, my for-profit company. I talk about business etiquette, and there's certain ways you conduct yourself as opposed to when you're with a celebrity without, but when you're in a business environment. Like, for example, if there was a meeting, I was always 15 to 20 minutes early. Like if the meeting started 1, I got there at 12:30. And what I went there because I wanted to look at the agenda and make sure I wasn't on it. If I was on the agenda, I don't need surprises. And so if I was on the agenda, by being there early, I got a chance to really look and see what, what I had time to call my secretary and say, hey, bring me that report or whatever. But if you walk in at 1 o'clock and you see on the agenda, you're just dead in the water.
Right.
But I also noticed that one of the things that happens in corporate America is we like you. And when we like you, we take you out to lunch. So I teach business etiquette. It's BMW. This is your bread plate, this is your meal, and this is your water glass. And what you do with your napkin. Because a lot of times when we take you on an interview, we don't do anything. We're watching you to see if you can work for a corporation or corporate 500 company.
So yes, so you're a president and CEO of Infinity Global Connections. How did you started the company?
Yes, my husband and I, we work together. My husband's an attorney. He went to Michigan undergrad and Thomas Cooley Law School. He was the litigation counsel for the Coca-Cola company. And we do international business expansion. So if you want to go abroad or you want to take your business abroad, we help you do that as well. So that's our for-profit, Infinity Global Connections. And our nonprofit is Infinity Global Empowerment, where we create programs. The one we have now is called Woyibra, which in Ghanaian terms mean, in America, you may say, I'm on my period, but in Ghana, it's Woyibra, I'm on my Woyibra. And I know I'm not pronouncing it right, but I'm from Kentucky. That's the best I can do.
So you seem passionate about the youth, just giving back and mentoring and educating. How do these two, Woyibra and Infinity Global Connections help you do that?
Well, I'm a type of person that I'm a servant leader. In fact, that's why I joined a Rotary here, Detroit Rotary, because it's about servant leadership. So I lead from the back. So whatever I need to do to help you, like even when you called and said, hey, I need you to be on the podcast, I'm like, what time? What day? I mean, so those of us, we have to give back. If we don't give back, what are we doing? If not us, then who? And so it's important. And that's why my husband and I do workshops together, because we want Black kids to see it's okay to work with your spouse. And we are for-profit. We do the workshops and seminars to help you understand what it is. So with the empowerment, I'm helping not only people in the United States, but with the empowerment, I help women in Africa. And so far, we have created 300 women who make washable, we call it reusable, but it's washable sanitary pads, because girls don't have access to it. And access to sanitary pads it shouldn't be a privilege to have it. It should be something that people just have.
So what are your favorite memories or favorite trips from going to West Africa?
Well, my favorite trips are just going anyway. Just being there. When I went to see in Ghana and I saw the wall of no return. And that was when you walk through that wall, it's a wall. And so we as Africans, we were on this side. But once we walked through that wall, we never came back. But that's because that gangplank took us to the slave ships. Mm. And so I saw being in there, I was like so emotional. I was crying because if the white slave owners, the people that were transporting us, if they saw that you and I were from the same tribe and we were able to communicate, they would move you or move me because they wouldn't want us to talk. So there are a lot of different languages. I love it because it's a great place. I mean, it looks like New York and Chicago. So when I go to South Africa, what I do is I normally use my hotel room as my bedroom, and I sit in the concierge level and watch TV, and I meet other people that are there. So it's like, it's like home.
And this last question is when I ask every guest, so you've traveled around the globe, like you were just telling us stories of being in West Africa and Liberia. And when did you realize that this huge world full of tons of people was actually smaller than you realized?
Oh, when I got over there and I saw I saw me. I was driving in South Africa and I got stopped by the police, and the policeman came up to the window and he was speaking Zulu. And he was like, "Look." And I said, "I can't understand the words coming out your mouth." He said, "What?" He said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm here to talk about Jesus Christ." He said, "Who?" I said, "This is a way I can talk about Jesus Christ." But I mean, just traveling, it opens the world to you, and it opens you up to the world. And so I just say, again, be the leader so you can raise leaders, and don't make hard decisions, or don't make decisions when it's a temporary environment. And thank you for allowing me to be on the broadcast. And I just want to make sure that everybody pass the baton, build as you climb, and remember to give back.
And there we have it. Today we've had the opportunity to explore the mind of a superwoman who wears many capes. Reverend Johnson has made it her mission to give back to youth all over the world by equipping them with the knowledge and skills they need to make it big. She is truly an inspiration to many and continues to build a legacy of change. Thank you guys so much for listening, and again, a special thank you to our guests. See you guys next week.